Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for part 2 of the Monday Q&A. So let's do it. Is there one American football program you prescribe over the rest? Or would you tell a young athlete that is an early intermediate, that's the word I'm looking for, to general intermediate lifter to use your intermediate program for the off-season? None of the programs that I had written were for athletes. The original intermediate template that I put up, it took me 5 minutes to write and shoot the video. I wrote it while I was shooting the video, and then that video's gone. As well as my novice program, these are bodybuilder programs. I'm not saying you can't get strong on those, because you can't get bigger without getting stronger as a natural. It doesn't work. But they're not suitable, really suitable for someone with serious athletic goals. Now, if you want to be serious about your American football, you're going to need to be on a serious strength and athletic program. Now, since we're talking about intermediates, what do I recommend? I can recommend 3 programs for you off the top of my head that are successful for football players at that level of development. And these are programs that have been used successfully by people who've gone on to get university scholarships, by people who've gone off to play in the NFL. Some of these programs have been used still by guys in the NFL. And the 3 I'm going to recommend are going to be Bill Starr's 5x5, which is also called Mad Cows, which was originally written for college football players. You're going to have the Texas Method, which isn't bad for football players. If you want something a little different from the other 2 I'm going to recommend. I'm not saying it's perfect for football players, but it's not bad for an intermediate football player. It's a viable option. And then the 3rd choice would be West Side for Skinny Bastards, written by Joe DeFranco, who is a very, very successful, one of the most successful athletic trainers in the world, and he has gotten a lot of university football players drafted. He has trained them going into the combine, got them drafted. He wrote this program for an intermediate level football player. It's not a bad choice at all. I honestly, if I had to pick between them, it would be hard for me to pick between the first one and the second one. They are quite a bit different from each other, but they both have such an effective track record that I don't think you can go wrong with either one. Pick whichever one you think you're going to stick to the best and run with it. All right, next question. Opinions on squatting with the heel elevated on plates. Is this safe long term? Feel like it helps keep my back straight, but seems to put more pressure on the knees. Would you recommend staying with it if it works, or get away from it for long-term squatting? Thanks. Hell no, it's not safe. And anyone who advocates this squatting on plates is not looking out for your safety. It's something you can try one time to see if it helps with your heel drive and your bar path. One time. Don't ever do it more than that, because if you know that you're going to benefit from an elevated heel, go spend the money and invest in some weightlifting shoes. They vary in price dramatically. You don't have to get a pair like I have, my Addy Powers. Get a cheaper pair. You don't have to go get the Nikes that Candido uses. We're both using expensive lifting shoes. There are far cheaper shoes out there for people who are on a tighter budget, who don't want the latest, greatest, trendy shoes. We wear these because they look good at powerlifting meets. That's it. They're a fashion accessory. Get you a cheaper pair and do that. And for God's sakes, don't get on plates. It's not stable. That is asking for an accident. And it's just not worth it when you've got a heavy weight on top of your spine for you to fuck around like that and have plates under your heels and risk injuring yourself. That's silly ass bodybuilder shit. And if you pay attention and look at the track record, bodybuilders get hurt more than any other type of person who lifts at a serious level competitively is weightlifting for anything they do. You don't see real athletes getting hurt to the same degree that bodybuilders do. And it's because bodybuilders do stupid shit. And that's a perfect example. Not all of them, but you guys know what I'm talking about. This is the kind of bullshit that gets people hurt. Get you some proper weightlifting shoes if that's what you need to elevate the heel, or stay flat-footed. Don't play around with stuff like plates under your heels. All right, next question. If excess protein is converted to glucose, why are carbs stressed for increased performance? Why doesn't glucose from excess protein provide the same performance edge that carbs do? Number one, because it's not converted into muscle glucose, it's converted into liver glycogen. It is your liver that handles the process of gluconeogenesis from protein. So it gets stored as liver glycogen, which then gets released into the bloodstream as needed, as opposed to a lot of carb sources that end up as blood sugar and then get stored through various tissues in the body, including the muscle tissue, including the liver. You just end up with better glycogen storage in the muscle tissue from carbs directly, as opposed to relying on it through a secondary pathway to get there. So that's number one. Number two, it's metabolically expensive. You have to eat very large amounts of protein in order to get significant amounts of glycogen, because you end up expending a lot of energy and calories doing it. You also can only convert around 40% of the protein that you consume by the liver into glycogen. And so you'd have to eat tons of protein to really get the effect, and it's taxing on the body. It creates extra uric acid, it creates extra waste products that you're taxing your body more than you need to just to get some glucose. So there's a lot of reasons why it's not the preferred choice for athletic performance. It will do as a last resort, absolutely, but it shouldn't be your first choice for all of those reasons. Alright guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time in part 3.